So huge thanks for joining me, and huge thanks to our final Facebook group live of the year. So just to let you know who we've got, Diksesh Patel. So Diksesh, thanks for joining myself, thanks for joining the audience, and this is a much about your own interaction as well, so feel free to contribute. Diksesh, to people who may not have heard about you, what do you do in property is a key question. We'll go into a clockwise direction.
It's a good question. I'm a full-time property developer now. We've got 3 different projects in flight of various sizes, as small as 7 flats up to 35 houses, and we're looking to grow that with an additional 4 sites in 2018.
Laura? So good, you can see Laura on the screen.
I'm a solicitor, Ronald Fletcher Baker Solicitors, specialising in property litigation, dealing with all aspects of property redevelopment and problems that our clients come across day, really.
Brilliant. Let me just see if I can swivel over to David. David?
Hi Brendan, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm David Burns. I'm a partner in Ronald Fletcher Baker as well. I work alongside Laura in the property litigation department. We've got quite a big property department in our firm, so we get a lot of the litigation that arises out of that. We help our clients fulfill the property ambitions and help people from first-time buyers through to the larger clients with full portfolios of commercial and residential properties.
And you're a partner at Ronald Fletcher Baker.
Yeah.
Celebrating its birthday next year.
Gosh, yeah, it's about 50 years old more now.
Yeah. Let me just swivel over. Stuart, so most of you have come across Stuart Ross. I say most of you, but maybe there's 1 or 2 who haven't. Stuart, to our listeners, Martin Skinner is probably a name which nearly everyone in property's heard. You've been working with Martin for 3-4 years, maybe more?
4 years, yeah.
4 years. So for those who don't know, Martin is from Inspired Asset Management. Now Martin's a flamboyant guy. He loves cars, so if anyone follows him on Facebook. But yourself, so you're head of investor relations. Have I got that title exactly right?
Yeah, sure. Yep, that's right.
Okay, and so your purpose in helping Martin is literally to raise funding. And we were talking just off air about one of the big developments in Farnborough. Have I got that right?
Yeah, we've got quite a few developments going on at the moment, and as you're wanting to talk about build to rent, that we've got a build to rent development that we're doing down in Farnborough as well. But yeah, that's right. I run the fundraising team within Inspired.
Thank you. And least but not last,
hi,
Nicola
yeah,
J. Brown.
Yeah, so I'm a property developer, not on your scale, but I have a handful of developments under my belt, and more recently I've been project managing for residential owners. Thank
you. So we're going to swivel just out of the limelight for the moment. Okay, Dean. I see wine. No, that's not wine, Dean. that I wasn't sure if this venue will allow me to bring wine in. So this is Normandy apple, non-alcoholic. So look, I'll give a plug to Tor and Rob. There'll be, I'm sure, plenty of wine next week at the event which they're doing. Crowd with us. It's on Thursday evening. This is definitely not wine though. So not 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Look. So the focus for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, we're going to look at a number of different aspects of the property market. We're going to look at whether build to rent is overhyped, as some people are suggesting. We're going to look at the London plan, or the new London plan, which is in draft stage at the moment. And we're also going to look at goals as well. Diksesh, I'll start with you. So in goals for 2017, what was your major goal?
We wanted to secure 4 sites up to a total of 25 million GDV. Now for 2017, we have secured 3. We're at 20 million. We will hopefully get our latest offer accepted, so we may well hit our targets, and then we'll go into 2018. So that's been positive, and we did hit our private finance fundraising target of 2 million plus as well, which is hugely positive.
Diksesh, look, I know you're going to be at the summit in January, but that's a long time to wait. It's 38, 39 days away. So some people may be thinking, how can we connect with you before the summit?
Yeah, you can connect with me here on Facebook. You've already tagged me, so that's one place to start, or LinkedIn. And also I'm speaking at a number of events throughout 2018, all the way from January up in Kingston through to Leicester in April.
Brilliant. Look, I did get these Christmas crackers, so I saw...
Yeah, let's have a go.
Let's, yeah. Okay.
Oh, come on, guys.
Oh, look at that. That's a dice.
Guys,
So, you know, that's interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if these are miniature crackers, so I don't know if these are miniature hats or
You
not.
have to take the joke. What do
Well,
you
these are
call-
miniature hats, aren't they?
What do you call a fly without wings?
Well, I want to cheat and look at the answer for that.
Walk.
Walk. Okay.
That's
I'll
terrible.
go back to property development.
That's it.
Okay. Let me move this camera just slightly. So, if we move over to Stuart.
Yes.
Okay. So, in terms of 2017 and goals, and I'm sure it's one of the important things for Martin as well, Martin from Inspired Asset, what can you say some of the goals? What were they? Have they been achieved? And going forward into 2018 as well.
Sure. Well, I guess there's a couple of different aspects. So we are property developers, and we've been developing property, and we completed a couple of projects this year. So one in Sutton and one in Coombe Cross in Croydon as well. Both for about 80 apartments each, and they're now completed and people moving in, so they look quite nice. And we've also launched a bond as well. So. Yeah, so that's a positive thing for us as well.
Okay. Have I missed something? Because I didn't know anything about the bond. Was that relatively recently or quite a while ago?
Yeah, no, just within the last month we've launched that. So yeah, but obviously, you know, it's tricky to promote financial products, so that's
Sure.
probably why you haven't heard about it yet.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant. And last but not least, Nicola. Okay, are you on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant.
My goals for next year are, I haven't yet decided them, Brendan.
But this year, what were your goals?
Yeah, I achieved my goals this year. Yeah, I've had a number of projects that have been successful. So next year I think I need to do more number talk, because then I guess you've got something that you're aiming towards.
Sure. Stuart, we won't mention the word bonds. Okay.
I think we can say we've got a bond. I think that's yeah.
We're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
What's the main vision for Inspired Asset Management next year?
So yeah, we're actually looking at quite a few more projects, and we're looking to maybe complete on about 3 or 4 within the next month.
Sure. It seems to be a lot of focus on you, Stuart. Sorry, I tried to take you out of the limelight.
So yeah, I should have said on the end.
Let me just get you.
Okay. As long as I win this.
You're winning it. Oh, wow. Okay.
You're reversing.
Okay, thank you.
Stuart, we're going to discuss build to rent, because that's something which Inspired is involved in, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, so it's something we're starting off now. Traditionally we've been office to residential conversions, mainly based in Croydon area, South London, and we've now expanded. We've got something up in Manchester as well. But yeah, and we're now starting to look at build to rent, because we've been completing a few projects, so we've had some cash come back into the company, and so we're using that equity to funnel that into cash flowing developments now.
Sure. Nicola, I'm missing the question. So, is there
Yeah.
any questions coming in?
Just that Dick Hesh looks like he's been out on the town.
Oh no, my
Um,
secret's out.
Hi guys, from Aaron. Sorry couldn't join you. And then the wine. Ricky Darlow's watching. Harvey Pearson, Rod Turner, Aaron Love, and Rundy.
Okay. Oh, Rudy.
Rudy,
who's your
Rudy, sorry.
partner?
It's
Oh,
hard
yes.
to read on the white background.
Let's just make sure we get you into the focus, David, as well.
Yeah.
So, we were discussing about legislation, the new London plan, So you've been reading it like most people have.
Yeah.
It's I think 500 or 600 pages.
Yeah.
What do you make of it, and what do your clients make of it? Have your clients contacted you?
Yeah.
What do your clients contact you most for this year, which would be valuable to my audience right now? Of course, we've got the summit, which we can go into a lot more depth as well.
Yeah. Well, one recent change that a few clients have been contacting straight away about was Philip Hammond's stamp duty change. So where he has, given an allowance of 300,000 for first-time purchasers outside of London, and then up to 500,000 in London, you get the first £300,000 allowance. Now in London, sometimes that might make quite as big a difference because there's not that much remaining on the market that's under 500,000, but there still is properties there, and our clients have been coming to us with some of those, straight away to take advantage of them if they can sneak it just under the 500 grand mark. And in our office up in Manchester, they're also being able to use the £100,000 allowance, and it's a good incentive, and that principle and rhetoric they've brought into the London plan as well, because there's too many people living in London and the housing stock just isn't there to support the the population. So I think
sorry David, I've allowed you to talk and we haven't
we haven't done
again
again I always lose on those things.
So what is the joke in that one? Let's have a look.
Oh God.
Let's see if anyone on Facebook can get this answer correct.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the New Year's party?
Don't say the answer. So look, we'll give a prize away if anyone gets the answer right before the end of the Facebook Live.
Right.
Let me have a
well, hopefully if Rudy's watching, I'm sure he can.
Nicola, you'll be in charge. You'll be in charge of that. So if we get any response on that,
Okay.
Okay. So we were just discussing about your clients. The recent
plan.
The new London plan is, hyped maybe right now. It's even Time Out had an article about the new London plan yesterday, which.
Yeah, they did. Well, people obviously are interested to know.
Yeah, Ollie has it because he had nobody to go with.
Yeah,
is that right?
That is right. That is correct.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the New Year's Eve party?
Okay.
No body.
Ollie, I will have to decide what the prize is, but connect with me afterwards.
Yeah.
And we will send you a prize. Okay.
It'd be worthwhile.
Mince pies. Mince
Would it
pies?
be worthwhile for people that don't know about the London plan to describe what the London plan is?
Yeah, definitely. What would you say about the London plan?
Yeah, so it's a strategic plan put in place to effectively give a guideline going forward for the next. I think it runs up to approximately 2035 or 2040. To put in place various incentives in respect of housing, green living,
green spaces, developing kind of town centres and other kind of places that are in need of a bit of regeneration, really. So it deals a lot with housing going forward, because obviously, like you mentioned, the housing crisis.
Well, one of the key points they've mentioned in the housing, or one of the key targets that they've mentioned in there, is to try and build 60,000 new houses in London per year. So that's a net target. So if people are demolishing existing properties, then it will only be the additional property that is added on to that total. And that's a pretty, whether that will be enough, I don't know, but it's still it's a good target to aim for at the very least. And it creates an opportunity for small to medium-sized developers as well, because there is a particular chapter in there aimed at allowing smaller developments and trying to give a presumption in favour of given planning for those, so infill sites or resi conversions, making existing properties the most of them, or also interestingly where a big large development is planned, for example on a brownfield site or an industrial unit, or somewhere where there is an ability in the meantime to have some housing units put there. There is provisions in there to allow people to have some meanwhile accommodation, I think they call it, so that there's an opportunity there. There could be several opportunities.
So what's really key to address, I don't want to get this wrong, so I hope I got this right. This is literally a draft proposal at the moment. So
That's
it's not
really key, because and there's going to be a consultation process, I think, through next year to the early quarter of next year, and then after that there will be an examination process. And so anybody thinking about purchasing something on the back of this draft plan, whilst it's a material consideration for the planning authority to take into account, in reality it's probably going to carry little or no weight until after, most likely, the examination process, because this thing will most definitely change after some of the bigger players start putting in all of their comments and their thoughts on it.
Sure.
One of the risks I think that they're going down at the minute, this plan is, as you mentioned, it's about 500 or so pages, it's long and it's detailed, and the whole intention is you want more houses, you want to really try and deregularize and get rid of some of the red tape. And with something that becomes so prescriptive, you can end up in a situation where you micromanage the developments to such an extent it has a counter effect to what you're hoping. So I think one of the pushes with this in the consultation process may well be to reduce down the detail, to give more scope for developers.
To speed up the planning process.
To speed up,
Which is
because
what we want,
that's the intention. So
Yeah.
I think they might inadvertently have put potentially too much detail and too much micromanagement in it. And there might be people like Dikshesh will put in their comments, which will hopefully be taken into consideration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stuart.
Yeah, I was just
Let me
thinking,
just-
like, it's
just
interesting. Sorry.
One moment. Yep.
It's interesting that it almost feels like the government's getting mixed messages around this, because they're obviously saying they don't want to build 60,000 new homes per year, but then they're also beating up the buy-to-let investors, and they're also reducing the funding for the planners themselves. So there are less staff to support getting the planning through, and it just seems a little bit mixed to me.
Yeah, I think that's certainly right. And one of the things I think they're going to have to try and achieve is to make it possible and worthwhile for small and medium-sized developers and beyond to actually develop in London. Because if they add too much and take away too many things, and if there's, for example, I know one of the main things is around affordable housing, so the provisions for all those, and that needs to be in there. You need to have affordable housing in London, or else nobody's going to be able to, the normal person won't be able to afford the deposits, etc. But that needs to be properly balanced up with the interests of private developers who are going to be able to build and make some sort of profit, so that it's worth it.
Look, it'd be great to get your views as well. I've asked Nicola just to help me out on the sidelines. It's like CFAX almost. In the old days, I'm giving my age away really by talking about CFAX.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What is that?
Yeah. So if there's any comments about
Yeah.
the new London plan, Dikshesh or Nicola, do you want to say, or Laura, do you want to say anything else about the new London plan?
I'm hopeful that the red tape around the planning process can be sped up, because it gets so frustrating, especially when you hit affordable targets, seal payments. Listen, we're trying to work hard to put more housing back into the community, and it's an expensive business, and it comes with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of stress as well, I think, and the risk as well. And it would be useful to see if there's actually any support from the government. At the moment, it doesn't feel like it's like we're working against them than them working with us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you were saying as well about it's quite contradictory, because on one hand they're saying we need all these new homes, but looking through the London plan earlier, there's crazy restrictions on property sizes that they're proposing, and things like so many windows and bedrooms and things like
And
that.
it even
So
talks about
makes it more
wardrobes as well, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, look, we focus a little bit on the London plan. What I read, which was of interest, has anyone said anything? No, Nicola?
No.
What I read of interest was about cars in London, because I think now the government realise, how important cycling is. I can't believe you cycled all the way to here, David. But and that's one of the things which they're going to consult or consider, whether restrictions on planning need to be enforced depending on cars, and priority over cyclists as well. Look, we've briefly touched on the London plan. Okay, no, yeah.
People need to see you in your hat, in your
Oh,
Christmas
no.
hat.
I have none of you in your hat. We haven't done that Christmas. Nicola?
Okay. Should we do another joke?
Yes, and there'll be a prize if we can get... Ollie, is it Ollie? We can't get you to have another prize. It's just one prize. I know it's Christmas.
No googling the answer.
Okay, yeah, I suppose Google, yeah.
Or maybe someone at the table can get this one. What do mice do in the daytime?
No, I'm not good with Christmas.
I don't know. Each is,
So
Okay.
we'll leave that one.
Yeah,
So
it's
just
here.
repeat again.
What do mice do in the daytime?
Okay, brilliant. So
Kind of vague.
yeah.
look, we've briefly touched on build to rent. We've touched on the London plan. What other things are coming up, Stuart? We've got Stuart in focus in terms of with Martin. He's at the forefront. I don't know how many presentations he's done this year. I think he's been at the FT Summit. So what other things is he looking at? Is he looking at modular? Is that coming up?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, that's interesting you say that, because we're looking at a particular development where essentially the apartments are going to be built in Latvia,
Latvia.
yeah, and then shipped over, and then put together like a Lego. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So that's fascinating because now I'm slightly biased because I had a presentation on modular design buildings about 2 months ago, so that's why it's of interest to me. Why Latvia? Why did Martin source that particular?
well, it's cost effective. So this they went over and checked it out, and they know what they're doing. They went to the factory and had a look around, and they could see the finished product. It was all high quality stuff. But also because of the prices over there, the labour is a lot cheaper. It's just a lot more cost effective. So one of the as you guys would know, that one of the main costs in building out is the actual building works itself. And so if we can get them all done somewhere else for a cheaper price and just get them shipped over and stuck together, it's a lot easier for us.
The other question, which I never have touched on in this particular session today, apart from we talked about bonds briefly, is about funding. Now Martin hit, I don't want this all to be about Martin who's not in the room, but Martin hit the headlines I think in the FT. Brilliant, we're back on. that wasn't Martin, by the way.
But we have had two people get the joke right. First was Jonathan Chan.
Wow.
Second was Ryan.
Ryan just
Jonathan's one of the
Yeah.
listeners that are
Jonathan
not
Chan.
Did they get the answer right then?
Yeah, both of them.
That sounds like
Yeah, that sounds like
So-
Google.
What do mice do in the daytime? Mousework.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, let's just do one more Christmas cracker.
Yeah. Well, I can bring one back to Jonathan, who's one. Laura, do you want to?
These are fixed.
Yeah, big.
So, Stuart, I want the focus to be on you. Just one more moment on the modular design. So we were talking about. God, I've never seen so much excitement about Christmas crackers.
Another joke.
Oh, we got the joke.
Yeah.
Let's do the joke in just a minute. I just want to focus on modular design. We looked at Latvia. We looked at why Martin selected Latvia. Is that the house? Can you tell us a little bit more about the project, or that's confidential at the moment about which project it is?
Yeah, well, I think we're still bidding on it, so we can't really talk that much
Sure.
about it. But I think by doing this and by reducing the build costs, makes a lot more projects a lot more affordable for us as well. Particularly at the moment, this we do office to residential PD conversions, but with the modular stuff, we can just stick these new apartments onto the top. So by reducing the build costs, makes a lot more projects more affordable, and so opens us up to a lot more projects. Because I guess, as you guys would probably know, that it's quite still, even though the market's a little bit flat, it's still quite competitive to try and get deals, and it's hard to find a good deal at the moment. We look at maybe, I think, 500 deals a month, and it's just hard to.
A lot of it's overpriced, I think.
A lot of, and I think people are using their own cash, and it's just various different things, and I think people are probably speculating on some prices as well. So are you finding it difficult to get?
Yeah,
deals?
I think it's also difficult to find the right size with the right margins. That sites are heavily overpriced. And then another alarm bell is lenders now tightening up on the numbers you send them. They're already haircutting your GDV numbers by upwards of 10%. So you have to work harder to secure a better price when you buy. That's where the real effort is. And so yeah, very. I think I mean, we're not at the 500 plus level. We process about 100 a month.
Right.
And we're only
still time consuming, isn't it?
It's very time consuming. Yeah. It's the hard work isn't the deal that you found. It's the other 99 that you out of the 100 that you've rejected where the hard work goes in, which a lot of people don't see. Under covers. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, it's a tough market at the moment.
Laura, the question is.
How do sheep greet each other at Christmas?
Okay, so we've given 2 prices already. Again, anyway, okay, we will continue that tradition.
Humbug, is it? I haven't looked.
If
Oh, it's not.
How do the sheep greet each other?
okay, don't say anything. So let me just, Nicola, you'll be in charge of
The joke.
the joke.
The joke monitor.
Look, fantastic, Dean. Finance question: are any lenders providing mortgages on off-site construction? Considering they are non-standard construction, it may prove troublesome. Stuart, do you want to?
What was the question again? Sorry.
It's about modular design.
Yeah.
About easy access to finance.
Right.
Because it's modular design, longevity. Some people see that as a problem.
Do you mean? I guess is he asking about the end buyers buying the apartments and getting a mortgage on a modular design? Is that what he's asking?
Possibly, but I thought it was, well, we can answer that question. I thought it was more about a developer getting finance on modular in the first place.
Well, yeah, I think it is, and it is a bit of a learning curve for for the development finance people as well, because it's a new product over here, so not many people are familiar with it. So. If you've got the quantity surveyors working all this type of stuff out, it can be a bit tricky for them to have the faith in these type of things and back their design. So yeah, there's a bit of education for the lender as well.
I think so just to
let me just move you back. Sorry.
The key thing that for people to understand is the way lenders release funds on a standard construction build is well known, whereas with a modular build. It's totally different. So there needs, there's obviously an element of learning curve, and that's where the challenge is how and when do they release those funds on a modular build, because it's not like you're going from the ground up. So yeah, in answer to Dean's question, there are definitely development lenders out there that are working with modular builders, and I've been researching SIPS panels as well,
right?
Looking at potentially. That side as well, and also end user refinance, which is key, because if end users can't buy those properties and get mortgages, it's not a straightforward route to market.
That's right, and I think one of the things, I'd have to check this, but I heard the guys in the office saying that basically the Latvian team fund the build and we pay it once it's all been done, so we don't have to pay up front, because that's a bit of that. They realise that the funding can be difficult, so they can go and build the apartments and then pay them afterwards.
So Dean is saying, can a buyer, this is what he's asking, can they get a standard high street mortgage on these type of properties?
So in answer to that question, yes, but you have to check with that particular modular company with which approved lenders are on their panel. So they do exist, but you've got to check to see whether that particular modular designer or builder has an approved panel of lenders.
Now he's saying that was not my question. Okay, let's repeat the question. What's this worth checking out? But in the meantime, Ryan did win the joke.
Okay. Do we have that little slip?
Yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Ryan, haven't you got any work to do?
Ryan has a call with me
Dean,
in a few minutes' time. As soon as I get off here, I've got a
Is
Zoom
Dean
call.
going to repeat the question?
I don't
So we
think
understand the question?
From what I'm hearing, these homes...
But that's not the question.
Okay, no. Look, Dean, I'm sure you're going to be at the summit, so our question is answered.
Oh.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Done.
Look, what else is there to summarise, to conclude? What are the key concluding remarks of 2017? So we go, Stuart?
Yeah, I guess we haven't heard much from
Nicola.
I know, what was the question?
Well, I forgot.
Yeah.
It was about 2018, 2017. What's your reflections on 2017? How has it been? What, you know, for me at the end of the year, I don't want to mention Bitcoin too many times, but the word Bitcoin's been, I think we got through this particular session without mentioning the word Bitcoin once until 40 minutes into it. Right now, it's on my Facebook page.
I heard someone today in the office there was saying that people in America are remortgaging their houses to buy Bitcoin.
Oh,
Wow.
Let's see. Let's watch Bitcoin.
So I know you're going to be at my morning meet on the 10th of January, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to be presenting?
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about sourcing contractors, what I've learnt from, you know, my experience of doing projects. I think for me, 17's been it's been a tough year. I think the market's been uncertain, lenders have been tighter. There's a lot of talk at the moment exit strategy. You know, they're not lending if you haven't got more than one. I think that's difficult. Yeah, I think let's look forward to 18.
Brilliant. Look, Stuart, we've got one more crack. I want to make sure we give people the opportunity.
Oops, don't move out of the way.
Wow.
No.
That must be my technique.
Let me just move the camera. Brilliant.
To the last.
Do you want to just say what the joke is? And
Okay.
and you can't, as I say, we've got all these rules and so forth.
Where does Tarzan buy his clothes from?
If anyone gets it right, we beat the.
I know.
Okay, say it.
Say it.
The jungle shop.
The jungle sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a winner in the room.
Winner in the room.
And he didn't cheat.
No. Now, sorry, Stuart, to cut you off there, but reflections on 2017.
Oh, look at all these little likes.
Yeah, I think for us it's been a good year. You know, I've been with the company for 4 years, and you know, when I started out, we just had 2 projects, and now we've finished building out our 10th project. And this year it's been quite nice to be able to finish a couple of major projects as well. 2 at the end of this year and 1 at the end of last year, or 2 at the end of last year as well. So it's nice to be able to get some stuff done and launching the bond, as I mentioned before.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stuart. So, Ronald Fletcher Baker, David and Laura, reflections on 2017. I know you were talking about Philip Hammond. Is that one of your major reflections on 2017?
Well, it's true. Obviously, 2017. There's been a dip in the property market, hasn't there? You know, I think everybody's seen it and felt it, and they know that we're not in a peak period. But our conveyancers have been busy, especially coming up to Christmas. Everybody wants to complete on the property purchases before Christmas for whatever reason. So it's been a good year for us. We're continuing to grow, and also one thing our clients are keeping an eye out for, which is going to be an interesting development, is that I think on the 31st of December of this year, the local planning authorities are going to be registering a list of their brownfield sites, which I think it's part of it is going to be allocated to sites which are appropriate for resi conversion and resi buildings, and they will have a presumption of development instilled in that. So a lot of our clients are going to be keeping a key eye on that, and it's something to watch out for.
Laura, do you want to add anything? Let me just,
I think just to say as well, although the market has been a little bit uncertain, a lot of our clients they are still developing the right properties. There are deals to be had out there still. So, for the right kind of clients and developers, there's definitely still good deals out there, notwithstanding the uncertainty in the market, I guess.
Nick Dixesh?
I think.
Let me just get you on camera.
Yeah, reflection is. I had this conversation earlier in the morning with another developer. When you've got a rising market, it's a very forgiving market, and you'll hear a lot of developers, I made a 20-30% gross margin, but the reality of it was how much was that due to the market going up. So now for me, the real experience, the quality of the developers who know what they're doing, that's where you'll start seeing them coming to the party to work harder to secure better deals, because we're already over the peak. It's just a case of how far do we budget for that peak, and I'm sure you've already started to factor that into your cost model as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good point you made.
Look, we could easily go on and on, and that's the purpose of the summit, partially. I do like these Facebook group lives as well. So, look, if there's... Oh, sorry, I'm not in the camera. I'm the only one with a hat as well. Let me take that out. No. Look, I just want to say huge thanks, particularly to the group who've come today. Dixesh, Laura, David, Stuart, Nicola. Want to say thanks to those of you who've interacted, who've got questions. Look, I'm sure there's going to be another Facebook group live in the early new year. It's really valuable to get your questions as well in advance, because those questions are so useful. You know, it gives a way to shape and structure the Facebook group live. I'm not going to rattle on. I just want to wish you a festive Christmas. I will be on Facebook Live again, but just one-to-one rather than one-to-many. And in fact, I'm being asked the questions next Monday, which I prefer asking rather than answering the questions. Thank you, and I just want to say huge thanks to all the panelists. I don't know if they're called panelists or, you know, phraseology, but as I say, you can meet all of them again next year. I didn't really run through how people can connect with you. Ronald Fletcher Baker is really simple. It's rfblegal.co.uk.
You've got it, Brandon. Yeah, that's it. rfblegal.co.uk. And you get in touch with any of us. We're happy to help.
Okay. Sure. I'm not brilliant. Inspired Asset Management, is that right? But
that's the company name, but yeah, if you want to Google us, Inspired Asset Management. Inspiredassets.com is the website, or Martin Skinner if you do a search for him.
Okay. And Nicola, how can people connect with you apart from coming to my meet on the
on the
morning?
10th of January. I am simply nicola@nicolajbrown.com.
Okay, brilliant. Look, I just want to say huge thanks. I'm going to end there.
Okay.
Oh, Dixon.
Oh, did we not?
Well, we did earlier, but you
We're doing it again.
you can do it again. Yeah, I would say just contact me through Facebook or LinkedIn. Dixesh Patel is only one of me, so I'm sure you'll find me. And happy to sort of sit down and share my property development insights with anybody who wants to have a coffee with me.
Thank you, and thank you.